What up, YouTube? I am back at you with another video, and here's my preview to our Week 2 game versus the Redskins. I'm gonna go over my topics, and I give my prediction at the end of what I think the outcome and score will be. So right now we're 1-0 in the division. So is Philly. This is a big week for us for the simple fact of seems like if you notice in the Dak era, we usually get off to 1-1. And so we have to win one, lose one, win one, then we finally go on a run. And I think if we could get off to a 2-0 season, that'll be a big step, because if we win it, the Dolphins game look easy, but you don't want to go to a must win. And I would like the team to be a little bit loose, but all right, let me get into it. One of the first things I'm going to talk about is Zeke workload. I know he's ready to be full go. I haven't seen anything if Jonathan Allen's out, but if Jonathan Allen's out, I think it'll be much easier to run the ball, even with Travis Frederick being back, than if he's playing. Personally, I think Zeke should probably get 5 or 6 more carries than last week, but I don't think it should be anywhere in the 20 to 30 range. That is just my opinion, but if the game calls for it, the game calls for it. But I wouldn't, in my personal opinion, would really want him to carry a big load into the Saints game. So I think he'll do better than last week. Because I think one more week of practicing will definitely help than what he was. Because last week you can see when he was hitting the hole, he was a step off. Because he's in great cardio shape, but he's not in football shape, and you actually could kind of tell he was rusty, because I remember on that third down, he actually dropped one he usually gets, but he was great in pass protection, and he hit the hole better in the second half. So I expect that to be better this week in that. And speaking of running backs, AP's going to start, and I think he's going to run angry. It's like the last probably 3 out of 5 games, we really haven't stopped the run well, and I expect FedEx Field to be jumping. So, and all the Redskins fans was angry because they all was angry AP was out. So I think early he's gonna feed off the crowd, and probably the only positive Trent Williams still ain't gonna play, so that'll help the D-line a little bit, and I am interested to see who's active. It looks like Taco may get traded, so I don't know if he's going to be active or not. Or was Tristan Hill. I don't think Dorrance Armstrong or was Kerry Howler really played that big of a game last week, so it actually seems like they are saying, all right, this is your week to prove it, so we will see in that aspect of it. But I expect AP to get 70 to 100 yards. He's going to be pissed. So I think the only difference with him and Saquon, you can kind of miss a actually gap in the sign that it won't bite you as bad. So like Saquon's 59-yarder. Van Dash had missed the hole wrong, and it's 59 yards down. Heath took a bad angle too on the play. If we do that to AP, it may be a 20-yard instead of almost 60. But I like what I hear from the defense, that they actually seem to want to fix that wrong. So what else? And also in watching that Redskins-Eagles game last week, I seen we really can't fall asleep in coverage, because McLaurin's a 4-3 receiver, and he probably should have had a 200-yard game, because Case Keenum missed them big in the second half, which probably would have been another big touchdown. So we actually definitely can't show up slipping there, And also with that, we actually might need to blitz more than what we want to, because it seemed like when Philly did in the second half, they actually rattled Case up, because when they was just trying to do 4-man pressure, which is essentially how actually we want to generate pressure. He actually had time, and damn, he was picking them apart. So to me, that is an area where I would blitz Sean Lee a few plays, Jalen Smith was Jordan Lewis, and I would throw him different looks to get him off, because I think if we do, we actually can probably get a couple sacks and maybe even an interception or so. And actually, I'm gonna talk about the strength versus strength, which is our O line versus their front seven, even with Jonathan Allen. That is a stalemate. Last year, I mean, even though our O line was pretty banged up in both games, from Tyron Smith to Zach Martin, he was never right. The Redskins, I think, had almost like 11 sacks in both games versus us. They actually completely shut Zeke down the first game, but Zeke got off the second game. So, Greg Minuski, he actually does a lot of stunt blitzing, and he will put D-line in coverage and bring a linebacker. He actually does a bunch of stunts to confuse the protection. I mean, so we have played his defense a few times. We actually ought to know that, but it seems like Ryan Kerrigan and Lyle. Ryan Kerrigan has got the best of that matchup the last couple times. So I mean, hopefully we're up to it. I didn't really see Montez Sweat flash, as in what Skip Bayless to say versus the Eagles, but he is still a threat, and I am surprised Reuben Foster didn't play. I didn't see him on the injury list, so maybe they're pushing him for this week. And our biggest mismatch, personally, is our wide receivers versus their DBs. They are big, physical corners, but they don't move well laterally, and none of them really have great speed. And that's one thing, all our receivers do have speed, and they're good route runners. Which kind of brings me to Josh Norman saying anybody could do what Dak did versus the Giants. I mean, Carson Wentz just carved their ass up. And honestly, for him, I don't see him checking Amari, because that ain't the type of receiver he wants. He actually wants a Dez, big, Mike Evans type receiver to where he could get his hands on. But then the Sutton receivers stop and go. They actually tear his ass up. That is why Odell was going for damn near $140 each time. And I'm not even saying Amari's as good as Odell. I mean, they about here, but I think stop and damn starting, it ain't too many better than Amari. To me, his best matchup for our receivers is Gallup, because Gallup is bigger, but even that, Gallup is probably the second fastest going on the straight line, and damn, all their corners is unsusceptible to double moves, and damn, Gallup had a big play last year versus them with a double move, and even on the strip fumble, it actually was another double move called. But actually, Dak held the ball probably a split second too longer, and that's what happened. So because to me, my prediction for the game is this: I think it is going to be a tight game, especially in DC. They don't want to go 0-2 in the division, and I think they going to fight to the end. To me, I know it's a 7-point spread. To me, I didn't feel like this is one of those 28-24 games. I kind of feel like the Redskins might jump out like maybe to a 10-0 lead on us. Then we'll have to claw our way back. I don't see Dak throwing for 400 yards again. I see him somewhere in the 250 to 310 range with like 2 touchdowns. Zeke Zeke probably 90 in the touchdowns, somewhere around there. So actually have us winning 24-28 and actually getting to 2-0. So actually, I will be back Sunday afternoon after the game to give my thoughts on what actually happened and see kind of what I was right and wrong with it. So I will see y'all in. Like, like, subscribe, share to let everybody know, and I'll see you Sunday.